James Baldwin, perhaps the most influential black literary figure of the last century, confessed in Notes of a Native Son that blacks feel alienated and inferior no matter where they travel in the modern world. Each black person, he mourned, is but a stranger in their village, a global village shaped by others, especially by whites. He wrote, "For this village, even were it comparably more remote and incredibly more primitive, is the West onto which I have been so strangely grafted. These people cannot be, from the point of view of power, strangers anywhere in the world. They have made the modern world, in effect, even if they do not know it. The most illiterate among them is related, in a way that I am not, to Dante, Shakespeare, Michelangelo, Aeschylus, Da Vinci, Rembrandt, and Racine. The cathedral at Chartres says something to them which it cannot say to me, as indeed would New York's Empire State Building, should anyone here ever see it. Out of their hymns and dances come Beethoven and Bach. Go back a few centuries and they are in their full glory, but I am in Africa watching the conquerors arrive." Despite the rantings of Afrocentrists, Baldwin's heartfelt confession is an honest analysis of the impact of race on world history, an assessment you will never hear from any person in power today, whether black or white. The uncomfortable truth is that the civilization created by whites that dominates the globe was built independently of other peoples, and that of blacks. But in today's media culture, image is reality. Thus, the mainstream media is attempting to reverse Baldwin's reflections on real-world history via the fantasy land of Wakanda and the massive marketing campaign for the new film Black Panther. Wakanda represents a spiritual homeland for blacks everywhere, a fantastical balm designed to soothe black self-esteem and emotionally support a people alienated from the world whites created. And the size of this effort should not be underestimated. Ryan Coogler, the black director of the film, noted that Wakanda serves as a wish fulfillment for blacks. "I think that Wakanda is the ultimate African fantasy, a place that was able to maintain dominion over their natural resource, able to control it, able to use it to grow, scientifically and culturally, and to be able to defend it from people who wanted to take it," he said. The ecstatic response from blacks shows that this appeal to racial pride is a huge success. Black people all across America are holding parties and seeing the movie in large groups. The character of Black Panther himself is being interpreted as an avatar of global black identity, and this is intentional. Part of the new film's emotional and visual appeal lies in the fact that Wakanda has never been colonized. It thus serves a psychological dual purpose. By reversing the real-world history of contact between Africa and Western civilization, and providing a powerful mythology about what blacks could accomplish without white interference. The fantasy of Wakanda banishes the depressing reality of Haiti, Zimbabwe, and Liberia. Instead, it provides an almost religious sense of empowerment for blacks eager to believe that they are descended from royalty, retroactively turning them into the conquerors from Baldwin's reflections. In reality, Wakanda itself, like almost everything else in the modern world, was a creation of white men. But myth is often more important than reality. And in the mythic sense, if Wakanda is the African Garden of Eden, whites have now become a stand-in for Satan, triggering Africans' fall from superiority into subjugation. Indeed, while Black Panther champions a message of independence and self-reliance for blacks, some journalists argue it should inspire a feeling of guilt and shame in whites. And it seems likely that Black Panther will eventually be incorporated into school curriculums as a form of cultural reparations, teaching young Americans what Africa would have looked like were it not for European interference. Some public school students are already getting advanced screenings of the film. This attempt to boost the already unrealistically high self-esteem of blacks is likely to be effective. Unfortunately, it will also fuel the pathological sense of grievance blacks have against white people for supposedly creating all of their problems. It is, of course, not to see this as intentional. James Baldwin knew even the most illiterate white person was related to a glorious past. But now blacks have been given an attractive myth, being told they are honorary citizens of Wakanda in a way whites can never be. And as blacks are provided a fantasy of power and success, our own people are indoctrinated to feel shame and guilt about the deeds our ancestors actually accomplished.
Jungle in the long tall grass, sits fat Eddie on his big black ass. Round about 11 he's got nothing to do, so he kills a few people like me and you.